This is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
This is AJ Mitchell, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Alex Crusoe, and I'm down to dunk.
It's like baby bottle pop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is Adam Flagler, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, it's Isaiah Hartenstein, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kason Wallace, and I'm down to dunk.
I can't spell Lucas. Hey, how do you spell Lucas? How do you spell Lucas?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Nikola Topic, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Dylan Jones, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Isaiah Joe, and I'm down to dunk.
And there's probably like 50 to 75 Beanie Babies.
Give me like your top 3 Pokemon.
Brother, I can't even name.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
Sometimes the way his brain works is it leaves a lot to be desired.
This is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
Charmander.
Yeah.
Charmander. Or you're more of a Charmeleon guy.
Charmeleon.
This is Shake Gilgeous Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Schlecht. You know what it means? Yeah.
That means like bad.
It means bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's me.
Well, it was a good interview, so it wasn't bad.
J-Dub, year 3, and I'm down to dunk for the 3rd time. Thank you.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. Down to Dunk, brought to you by our good friends, Aaron and Drew Reese, Shelter Insurance, proud supporters of Down to Dunk and the Thunder. Listen, Dunkers, you need an insurance agent who's going to help you navigate severe weather because it's coming. It's been here. It's going to continue to be here for a little while. And you need some agents that you can trust. I'll bet you that Aaron and Drew are 2 of the best out there. So last year, Shelter was ranked number 1 on the Forbes list for the world's best auto insurance company. And right here in Oklahoma, they've been ranked number 1 for customer satisfaction by J.D. Power 6 out of the last 7 years. But again, these are guys that you can trust. So you should call them. Call Aaron at 405-773-5500 and Drew at 405-478-7714. You can call, text, or email these guys, and they will take care of you. With me today, my good friend Alex Speers. Alex, what's up?
What's up, Andrew?
Welcome
to the playoffs, huh? What a great playoff game. That was so much fun. I'm glad we get credit for that and that it means something.
Yeah, good game 1 win for the
1-1 headed back to LA.
Man,
if they were in the Western Conference Finals,
yeah,
and game 1 went like the way that first game went, and then game 2 started the way game 2 went, there would be a video of me already online, like chunking my TV off my front porch. I was furious in the first quarter with those threes.
I mean, they made 15 threes in the first half of both games.
That would be the most threes ever hit in an NBA game. If that was a full game, 30 threes would be the record.
Yeah, it was absurd. And, credit to the Thunder. The corners were a big problem in the first game. The Thunder took away the corners for the most part in that game. Now, what it led to was above the break threes as they throw the ball to the corner, no shot, swing it to above the break, and then they have shots. A lot of them were contested. So I think they played better overall. I mean, the Thunder did win the game. But yeah, I just think, and JJ Redick said this after the game, and I thought it was really interesting. He said, you have to have 3 ball handlers on the court when you're playing this team. He said, you just have to. And he said, whenever Luka went out, like that was kind of their problem, is that they didn't have enough guys that could be decision makers with the basketball in their hands. So I thought that was really interesting because it's very true. I mean, the Thunder can easily solve 1 or 2 guys, I think, with this roster. But when you have the third, especially when they're all out there together, it's tricky. Even though the Thunder, I feel like they're probably best equipped to handle something like that. But it's tough to handle, especially when they are shooting 80% from 3. That's tough.
That's why coming off these 2 games, and maybe it is overreaction, but like I feel very confident now. I don't want to see that team as long as possible because they are scary in ways that even the Mavs weren't scary. Like you just bringing up 3 ball handlers, like the Mavs only had 2.
Yeah.
Mavs had Kyrie and Luka.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yes, they would occasionally have like, you know, some guy off the bench or something that would probably light us up, but like 3 really good lead ball handlers with those 3 guys is really scary. And yet they have a downgrade at the center position. You know, they don't have Lively and Gafford and, you know, all that size, but they have so much size on the wings. And that's the thing that jumped out in these 2 games, just how big they are with, you know, guys like Rui or Vanderbilt. Like they have a lot more size than they get credit for. I mean, everyone is so laser focused on, oh my gosh, it's Jackson Hayes and who's going to back up Jackson Hayes. But outside of him, like the rest of their roster is pretty big. And I just think that they present some very unique problems for OKC. And I hope they win against the Mavs tonight. Hey, shout out to them for playing full squad first night of back-to-back when you have that huge Mavs game tonight. I really appreciate it because I was worried that, you know, the only like semi-meaningful game we were going to get was that blowout. And then they were going to rest their starters and it was going to be like a nothing game. End up being a very fun game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope that they win out because I want them on the other side of the bracket. Stay over there. I mean, just when I look at these other West teams, like the thing, the level of star power like hits you in the face with the Lakers. Like you can forget that LeBron's out there. And then all of a sudden LeBron's taking over. And it of course makes sense because it's LeBron James, you know, one of the greatest players of all time. But if you compare their top end talent to any other team in the West, like, yeah, they're going to have the best 2 players in any series. Like even if it was Jokic and Murray, I would take Luka and LeBron over them right now.
Yeah. Thank you, Nico Harrison, for doing this to the NBA. Way to go, Nico. It's going to be so fascinating to see how this all plays out in Dallas tonight. It's wild. We'll have boots on the ground for the NBA Daily Pod for tomorrow, so be sure to tune into that because that will be very interesting to see. Obviously the big storyline from this game is the ejection of Luka and just how it transpired. So Luka had already picked up a tech early on in the game, and so this is what happened. Like this is actually like what happened in this game is that a guy who sits courtside, his name is Jeremy. He's courtside tattoo guy. He often yells at guys. He yells at everybody. I've literally sat courtside with my buddies, and he's right behind. And he is yelling at everybody. He's yelling at Jokic. When I was at the Denver game sitting courtside, he's yelling at Jokic. He's yelling at Jamal. He's yelling at everybody. And he's just doing the same thing. He's not yelling profanity. He's not yelling anything crazy. He's just like yelling. I think what he yelled whenever Luka shot the ball was short, that he yelled short. And Luka was furious about this, I guess, and then ran up the court, turned around, and yelled FUB at Jeremy. But it was also in the exact same direction as the official. And the official thought it was directed at him, which is what Mark said after the game, because Mark spoke to him afterwards, asking what happened, and the official truly believed that he was saying it to him. And so you get this like post-game, like strange post-game environment where like I ran over to JJ, talked really fast. And so I ran over there, and JJ was like despondent after this game. He was just like, he's kind of in his feelings a little bit. And he was like, I don't know. He's like, all I know is he was talking to a fan. And then he mentioned like, he's like, and if someone's decision-making didn't do this, like trying to reference JT or the official. Yeah. Anyways, and then you hear Mark talk about it, and Mark, I asked Mark about it, and he immediately goes, he was like, well, he's like, the official JT Orr in Sacramento several weeks ago gave me a technical foul for saying something like very mild. And then he went on to talk about how whatever Luka said to him was not nearly as mild. And then the pool report comes out, and it's that Luka directed something at him, but I do believe Luka directed it at a fan. But honestly, it was probably hard to tell because Luka also has an ongoing dialogue, not only with a fan, but with the officials the entire game. And so trying for the officials to distinguish who he's talking to, especially when it's in that direction, like I don't blame him. And a lot of this is like the same like immaturity that Luka has shown for years and years and years. So it's like a part of that is like that's what happens when you display this kind of immaturity. Like this is just what happens. And so you may have not meant to do it. You may have not directed it at this person, but it can come across that way and it can look that way, especially when you're having that ongoing dialogue. So it was one of like the weirder ejections that I've seen. It was like one of the weirder texts that I've ever seen, especially whenever you talk to see both sides of it and they both believe vastly different things.
Yeah, I mean, if that was a playoff game, I would have been super psyched. I would have been so happy. Oh my gosh, just to get Luka out of there, get a win.
Yeah.
But in this situation, coming off of that previous game, like I just thought it was such a cheap tech, and I didn't get to learn like that. That was setting up to be about as meaningful as a closing part of a game as we got this entire season. I mean, this team just hasn't had close games.
Mm-hmm.
They've not had close games, and instead we get robbed of that. And they blow them out, and it's very exciting, and it's very nice that they, step up and like took care of them. But that team without Luka is a playing team. Like that's not a scary team. Like you don't really learn a lot about the Thunder, and the way it was setting up. I mean, Luka hit that shot to put them up 1, and we're in the fourth quarter. And so, yeah, in the playoffs, I would have been super psyched just to get him out of there. But in this particular game, like I just wanted to see the end. I wanted to see if they could beat Luka. Like show me that you can do this, because as a result, I come away from that game like not really. I'm glad they felt. It feels like they played much better than the previous game.
Yeah, they did,
but they didn't like prove anything because it was taken away from them. That opportunity to beat full strength Lakers in a close game at the end, which is something we just haven't seen across this entire season. I mean, I think that in 3-point games that were decided by 3 points or less, don't they only have like 4 of those in the season?
Yeah.
It's some like super small amount. And so I was just, they have 5 and they're 1-4 in those games. They've only had basically 5 close games this entire season.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just bummed because of that, because it was like, okay, this is one more shot to get a close game and let's see how they play. Because that is one of the questions about this team, especially against a team like the Lakers, who have guys like Luka and LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was. I totally get the reason for ejecting him. I thought Mark had. I thought that was a very good explanation from his point of view. I did think he was saying JT Thor, and I was like, oh, that's where JT Thor is now. He's a ref.
It's an official.
Good for him. But yeah, it was just kind of a bummer end to that game, as exciting as the end of that game was. I mean, they blew them out after that point.
Yeah, it was over. And like the Lakers completely, like they were kind of losing their minds slowly through the game anyways, which didn't make it, I didn't really understand it. Like the Lakers, like they drew way more fouls. They drew 11 more fouls total in the game.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, after every timeout, and I started videoing it after I was seeing it, after every timeout, after every stoppage, it would be 2, 3, 4, 5 Lakers surrounding an official after every single break. Like no joke. Even after the game was over, Markieff Morris is in the official's face after the game is over and like ranting at him. I have a video of LeBron screaming at Tony Brothers after a timeout. Like it is a non-stop thing. It is non-stop. And so after Luka was eventually ejected, and like the Lakers are really good at doing a lot of, like you see a lot of it on TV, but they're really good at doing a lot of it when they know there's no TV happening, which is just pretty wild. But like they started to lose it after, like Vando had that, the flagrant foul on J-Dub.
Well, right after that, Vando had the stare down on Caruso and got like a quick tech.
He got the tech. Yeah. And there's, I mean, it's funny, like Shea ended up shooting 11 free throws. A huge chunk of those were techs,
Yeah.
Which is just wild. But yeah, I don't know. It was, there's something that really got at the Lakers. They got a ton of calls. Like the Thunder weren't really allowed to be that physical with them. there wasn't like that the level of physicality that I think the Thunder usually play with, which just like frankly wasn't allowed last night.
Oh,
And a
there
lot
were
of
at
ways-
least like 3 plays where a Thunder defender made a play, and then like a full second later was the call.
yes.
Where
Yes.
where you're already feeling pumped about the turnover, like they got the strip, and then they make the call. Like that happened multiple times in that game. Honestly, this is one of the reasons, again, why I don't want to play the Lakers, because going in that you're going to have a free throw discrepancy. Like they're going to shoot more free throws than you going into the series.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it was without a doubt going to happen. And it did. I mean, they almost doubled them up on free throws.
Yeah.
So
And a lot of those were killers in the first half, where it's like they're already, going bonkers from 3. And then they had like at least 2, maybe 3 and ones where it was just like, oh my gosh, it felt like OKC was just like building momentum
yeah.
to like stretch out their lead, and then they'd get an N1. And it's
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. It also like the Lakers started really hot, that both
Absurdly hot.
had 43 points in the first quarter. And then like the Lakers scored 29 points in the second, 26 in the third, 22 in the fourth. Like there was also like an element of them, like it felt like they were running out of steam a little bit too, which is like, we saw this too with the Thunder, is that because they're playing small, they have to pack the paint with multiple defenders, which I think has worked so far for them. But there's also an element of like, that's exhausting to not have a rim defender there. Like we talked about it a ton last year. I feel like it was almost an exhausting talking point for us.
Yeah.
Everybody talking about the Thunder. And the Lakers are in a position where they have to do that as well. And you just wonder over the course of a playoff series if they can hold that level of defensive intensity, especially with the age of a lot of their guys. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that the Lakers obviously are dangerous for sure. And right now it looks like they are in pole position to stay in that 2-3 spot and on the opposite side of the bracket from the Thunder. And even if they do get in the 2-3 spot, I don't think there's any guarantee that they make it through to the conference finals, just because I think there's a lot of teams of that caliber in the Western Conference.
Oh yeah. I mean, I mean, like they could end up playing Denver in the first round very easily.
Very easy.
And if Jamal Murray all of a sudden comes back from his hamstring injury, like that team's going to look a lot different than they have the last 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah. The Thunder couldn't get in the paint last night though. Like it was unusual. Only 14% of their shots were in the paint.
Yeah.
And they shot 53%, which I think they shot around that same percentage at the rim last time. And a lot of them it wasn't like, oh my gosh, that was defended so well or whatever. I think there was just a lot of weird misses that happened last night. Like Caruso had a weird miss. Shea had a couple weird misses. I don't know. I really don't know what to do with that. I don't tend to give it a ton of gravity, but I'm not really sure what to do with that.
Yeah, it was they made up for it by being so much better in the mid-range. I mean, J-Dub, we should point him out. Like he had a very good game. And a lot of that came in the mid-range.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting to his spots. He looked very comfortable knocking them down like really consistently.
Yeah.
So that was nice to see, because obviously like the focus with this OKC team, both from the OKC fan base, but also nationally, is like, are the second and third guys going to step up? Are Dub and Chet going to step up in the playoffs? And so you want to see more moments like that. Chet did not have a great offensive game. He looked awkward out there a lot of times. I was kind of shocked though, because it does feel like there's a lot of conversation about the double big lineup right now, and like how viable is this going to be actually in the playoffs, and is Chet better suited at the 5? I was kind of surprised, and maybe I should just go back and watch those games to see when they played, but the double big lineup was a positive in both of those Lakers games.
Mm-hmm.
It was a +10 in both games, +10 net rating. And even the starting lineup was positive in both games, which is just like not how I remember those games playing out. But that's what it was. So I agree somewhat with the part of the fan base that is a little worried about that, or more worried about that double big lineup than they might have been like 2 weeks ago. Because there are moments where just their ability to play defense in the way you expect them to, it just doesn't look as good. And a lot of that feels like it's because Chet is being asked to do a lot more, or not be a rim defender in the way that we expect him to. But yeah, it was good enough in those games apparently. But I am interested to see how Mark employs it. I mean, he kept it to a very strict 10 minutes per in each of those games. The double big lineup played 10 minutes in the first Lakers game, 10 minutes exactly in the second Lakers game. It was nice seeing that. I feel like we saw a playoff rotation last night.
Mm-hmm.
Someone on the Thunder subreddit posted the like minutes breakdown and when guys were coming in and out. So it was nice to see that you know. But I am interested to see how much he relies on the double big in the playoffs, depending on the matchup as well.
Yeah, I have the starting lineup as a +1, and they're 9 minutes and 37 seconds together.
From last night?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Well, I just have it as the two games.
Oh, the
they
two
played.
games together. Okay.
Yeah, they were a +10.9
Okay.
spread across the two games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Like, there's also this element of like the Lakers have so much to play for, and the Thunder have not much to play for at all, in these games. And so I struggle to like try to find like so much meaning from these, because there is just like a natural inclination that both teams have. I think the Thunder did want to win this one. They brought Shea in at the 9-minute mark. I think that kind of shows that they want to win this one. I think they wanted to win it regardless of where he comes in at the fourth quarter. But you just know that like the Lakers, they have to win 2 more games. Like they have to win 2 more games. The Thunder, if they lost the rest of their games, it would feel weird, but it's not going to change their situation at all. So yeah, I don't know. I just think that there's also like weird human nature things that kind of come into play in games like this that you can't totally match what a playoff feel would be. And so I don't know. I think the Thunder were better defensively. I don't think they were their best defensively in that game. And I think that in the playoffs, like they need to be able to make those adjustments. I don't think they adjusted well against Dallas last year. And I don't think that they made like good like defensive adjustments or like crisp defensive adjustments like they could have. And so like they have to prove that they can do that. But I think that they have improved this year over last year in a variety of ways. And so I don't know. Even if Luka did play, or if they lost, or if they won a close one against Luka, I don't know. I just struggle to like take away a ton from these like late April regular season games.
Yeah, I view it more as just like getting experience, because like I said, they've only had 5 games that have ended within 3 points, and I would just like them to get that, as much of that experience as they could. And it's a credit to them that they haven't had that experience. They've been that dominant that they just haven't had games come down to the end. But we know there's going to be close games in the playoffs. And they just won't have a lot of experience in those situations going into the playoffs, which is fine. Like, they're a good team. Part of the reason why they don't have those is because close games that have been that have happened in the fourth quarter. I love looking at the game thing. What's that called? The game tracker on ESPN, where it has like the line with the points.
Chart.
The game chart. And there's so many Thunder games where you get like an alligator mouth, like right at the 5-minute point of the fourth quarter, where like the Thunder just shoot up and the other team just stays the same. Like, that's been their clutch games this season. They'll get down to those final minutes and they just blow a team out. Kind of like what happened last night, but obviously that was influenced by Luka leaving. So, maybe they'll be fine, but I really just want the playoffs to be here, because these 2 games have been a good like primer of how I'm going to feel during the playoffs. Just locked in and miserable for most of it.
The energy in the arena was just like, it was so much fun. And a lot of it is that like the Lakers always bring genuinely like a really fun energy to the building every time, but and because it's LeBron, but the fact that you had LeBron James and Luka playing in this game, it is just on full tilt. It is on absolute full tilt with both of those guys in the arena because there are massive Luka fan the fan base for Luka is huge. The fan base for LeBron is huge. Both those guys warm up together before the game, and like people are in their seats watching these dudes warm up. I'm like, like this is a ridiculous opportunity. Like I'm going to the court. I'm standing as close as I can to LeBron as he's shooting, corner threes.
Yeah.
And it's just like such a wild thing. Like to me, even though like we've been doing this for so long and I've been going to games for so long, there's still like this element for me that just gets excited to like get down on the court and like watch like these legends play. And like you could feel it in the building last night. It was really something. Like there's a party that like doesn't want to play the Lakers, but you get that in a playoff setting. And like if the Thunder beat the Lakers in the playoffs, like that would prove a lot to me. That would prove a whole lot to me. And I think that they should beat that Lakers team in a playoff series. And I think that the Lakers have the exact right buttons to push that are like the Thunder's weaknesses, to be honest, because I have like these two giant guys. The Thunder are decently equipped to guard, but like it's not the best guys for them to guard. And then those guys just happen to be like two of the most brilliant passers to ever play the game.
I know that's the thing that just is so scary. How their passing elevates the rest of that roster.
Dude.
Turning guys like Jordan Goodwin, all of a sudden you're scared of him because it's like, oh my gosh, Jordan Goodwin has an open three and he goes 2 of 4 from 3. Like their passing makes it so that any one of those role players could have a hot shooting night because they're going to generate some wide open threes for those guys. And eventually you're going to have to leave someone. Like someone is going to be open, or it's going to be a later closeout than you would want to because you are so scared of both of those guys.
Yeah.
And we saw it in both of those first halves where it's just like, this feels like an anomaly. Like it is an anomaly because they're matching their franchise record. But at the same time, they generate these shots. These are the shots they generate.
Yeah.
And they can have hot shooting nights because they're getting a lot of clean looks. And it's just, they're scarier than I was anticipating.
Yeah. A lot of it was Reeves too in the first half though.
Oh, he was so good. Oh
I mean, he was 3 of 4 from the top of the key there. He was,
and his weren't wide open.
No, he was covered 1 of 1 from the corner where he did like this like crossover, like fade away. Like, yeah, that thing's never going in and it just swishes. You're like, how do you do that? He scored in the paint, he scored in the mid-range. And then but to the Thunder's credit for Reeves, you know how many shots he made from the field in the second half?
I do not know.
0. He made 0. He had 6 free throws. And those are the only points that he scored in the second half. So they had a lot of Case and Wallace on him in the second half when he was in there.
Yeah.
I think was helpful. And then whenever he became suddenly, whenever Luka was out and it was him that was having to create, you could see like there's a big difference between guys like Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves. But when they're all three out there, you like trick yourself into thinking like, oh my gosh, they have 3 guys that are of all of the same caliber. But then whenever that was stripped away at the end, it was very apparent that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Austin Reeves he's totally capable of like dominating random Wednesday night game against, the Kings or something. Like if he's leading the Lakers offense, like you could see him continuing to do that. But yeah, that's a much tougher task for Reeves, having to like lead the Lakers offense against this defense, the best defense in the league. He's not quite there, as good as he has been.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought that was just kind of interesting too. Just seeing that. Dort was on fire. He's 5 of 8.
Dude, shout out to Dort, because if he hadn't had that first quarter, that was headed towards another stupid blowout in the first quarter. Like OKC had to shoot like 60+% from 3 just to keep that a game in the first quarter. And then it finally, you saw it in the second quarter. I forget the full lineup. I know Caruso was out there, Chet was out there, but like you finally started seeing OKC defense. It was like, oh my gosh, finally, like they're getting deflections, they're getting turnovers, they're getting out in transition. Finally, this is looking like OKC again. Because as fun as that first quarter was, like, that's not normal. That's not normal basketball. Yes, it's great that we hit 60% of our threes, but what happened in the second quarter felt much more like, okay, we're playing real basketball now.
Yeah.
Not just everything is going in.
Yeah, for sure. A few team stats before we take a break. Thunder had 9 steals to the Lakers 2, including the 3 consecutive steals from Alex Caruso, which was very, very fun. Thunder had 5 blocks to the Lakers 6 blocks, but the 2 Hartenstein blocks were just absolutely ridiculous. on LeBron, those were just absurd.
Especially because if you just like glanced up at the TV, I thought that was Luka for a split second, the connect one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Even though like Luka, I don't think would ever do that.
Connect,
never attempt that.
Jam, but not Luka.
Yeah. So I had to take my expectations down a little bit when I realized it was Dalton Connect, but that was still like such a dominant block. Like the kind of block you should have against a rookie.
Yeah.
Just like absolutely putting him away.
That was awesome. Lakers had 19 turnovers to the Thunder 7. The Thunder took, I think, like 20 more shots in the game than the Lakers did. Points conceded off turnovers. The Thunder had this advantage 29-5 in this one.
Yeah.
Which is pretty wild. And then points in the paint, I thought was another interesting one, was Thunder 56 to the Lakers 32. So even though
that was like mid-rangers, floaters range.
Oh yeah, it was all in that range because, like I said, at the rim they were only 52% and didn't really get to the rim, but they were finding their way to shots that they're comfortable with, which I thought was good because I need to check that specific number from Sunday, but it just didn't feel like they were able to generate those same kinds of looks on Sunday against the Lakers. It just felt like they did a much better job of packing the paint on Sunday and not giving them those. 46-36, which the Thunder still won points in the paint, but the margin wasn't quite as wide. Man, Sunday was really just about the threes. It was all about the threes for the Lakers. Man, they shot 55%. Like that's, I mean, you hate to be like so reductive in moments like that, but that's really kind of it. Like it was like the Thunder defense and the made threes, and that was really the story from Sunday, even though there'd be a lot of people that would say it's different.
I mean the only game where an opponent shot better was that stupid Denver game.
Yeah, which was another baseball series. Where it's funny, like those two flipped, you know?
Yeah.
Which it was kind of what I thought was going to happen going into it, is that we would see those differentiated like that. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll talk about playoff picture. We'll talk a little bit about Denver right after this quick break. And we're back after that quick break.
And we're back.
Now it's time to talk about our friends at Bob Moore Kia. There's me and my family with our Kia Sorento that we're driving around right now. It's an absolute delight to drive. It's got the third row. My whole family can fit into it. It's got the heated seats. It's got leather. It's got the panoramic sunroof, which is it's beautiful. It's very fun.
Very nice.
Very, very fun. And it has, I've not really driven a ton of new cars. So like maybe to me, this is like a very cool feature where like it has the lane departure warning, and like it will like steer you back into the lane.
I had to turn that off in my car because it freaked me out so much. Because my car would start vibrating.
Yeah,
and I was worried, and it was just because it was a new car. I was like, I have to turn that off.
The Kia does not vibrate, and I just think to myself, this is what I think. I have to buy my kids a new car whenever they start to drive, because like that feature, like the features they have on it, like I don't think I've ever felt safer driving a car than with this Kia Sorento. Like no joke. Like as I'm driving it on the highway, on the streets, I'm like, I've never felt safer in this like car. That it when you think Kia, you probably don't think luxury, but it feels like a luxury car. It's got all these like really safe features. It's a really cool looking vehicle as well. So the only place to get your Kia if you're in Oklahoma City is Bob Moore Kia. You have to go there right now. They've got deals on Sorrentos and Sportages right now. You can receive an additional $750 in owner loyalty rebates on a 2025 Kia Sorrento or Sportage. You can also save $6,670 when you purchase a 2025 Kia Sorrento, and they also have the pre-tariff pricing, so the tariffs will not affect any of the current inventory. So you buy now, go buy now. So Bob Moore Kia, proud sponsors of Down to Dunk. Al, bombshell yesterday.
Bombshell.
The Denver Nuggets, which I believed until yesterday were the team to be most afraid of come playoff time, fired their coach and their general manager all in one day. And their owner went and made a little video with their, I guess, like one of their TV guys and sat down with them. And he didn't say a whole lot. He talked a lot about juice in the video. So that they could squeeze more juice out of the team this way. I don't know. It was weird. We're just days away from the regular season being over. It was said on the NBA Daily this morning. Adam Mares came on. You should go listen to it. It's very good. Talked about how this is like tied for the furthest into a season a coach has been fired. I guess it happened to Hubie Brown. Like
it was Hubie Brown,
50 years ago, which the NBA was so different 50 years ago. You can't even really compare it. Just bizarre. I thought that the Memphis thing was bizarre, but at least they held on to their GM. They still have like leadership there. They had other reasonings for it. They hired this guy in the summer that they really kind of believe in to be a coach, and they kind of wanted him to be the coach. But this is just one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen. Honestly, I cannot recall like anything like this ever happening.
Yeah, I think if they just fired Booth, it would make a lot of sense because like we're getting close to draft season. Like if you don't believe in Calvin Booth going forward, even though the timing would still be weird, like it does kind of make sense. Like you would want to get your new team in there before you're doing like all your draft workouts and all of that kind of stuff. So if it was just that, I would get it because I think Calvin Booth has like really blown this. I mean, he got such a good setup because he didn't make the Aaron Gordon trade. Like the Aaron Gordon trade was there. He makes that one good trade getting KCP, and he has one good draft pick, like one really good draft pick with Christian Brown. Yeah. And those were like his first two moves. And so everything looked amazing. They won a championship. Every move after that, I think, is at least questionable. And the idea that they spent those two future first to OKC to just like guarantee contracts for late first and second round picks is just such a dumb way of
yesterday, like exactly what they got in those trades. And it's wild. So they traded in 2022, they traded their 27 top 5 protected pick for Peyton Watson in 2 seconds. And then in 23, they traded their 29 top 5 protected for what became Julian Strother and Hunter Tyson.
Like, dude, Portland traded 2 first-round picks for Denny Avdia. Imagine if Denver got Denny Avdia.
They would.
They'd probably be the title favorite, honestly.
They would have won a lot more games, and they would be right up there with OKC. Like they would be right up there with OKC. And right now it's like, maybe they could beat the Thunder. Like I think maybe that's a team that could, but I think that we'd be talking about them like closer to neck and neck. Like they need those kind of depth pieces.
And he would have been like,
player, but he doesn't play every game.
And he would have been such a great piece because his contract, like they probably could have figured that out. He's only makes $12 million. Like they could have probably done that deal. And instead they like bet the farm on just all these young guys, hoping that one of them is going to click, knowing that your coach doesn't want to play young guys. Like your coach wants vets and is going to play vets. I mean, apparently one of the disagreements more recently was that he was playing Westbrook at the end of these games over Pickett, and you know, just like getting super pissed about it. But it was interesting that on the DNVR podcast they were talking about like some of the stories, like you wouldn't believe how dysfunctional it was.
Yeah,
like guys basically like guys getting labeled as like a booth guy, and then Mike Malone just never playing them or setting them up to fail with certain lineups that he would put them in. It just sounded like such a bad situation. So once you hear some of those stories, it's like, well, why didn't you do it sooner? Like, I guess they were just like so good that you can kind of ignore things. And then when you go on one of these skids and you start getting frustrated with Jamal Murray again, it's like, oh my gosh, Jamal's hurt again. Then you kind of feel like this pressure to like, let's just take care of this now.
Yeah.
I will say in Nuggets defense, like at least they did say something after it, because when the Kings fired Mike Brown, they just like went into hiding and didn't say anything. So I do at least appreciate that. But yeah, it's just a wild time for that franchise. And you read Nuggets fans' comments, and a lot of them are like on board with the general idea. Everyone's surprised by the timing, but a lot of fans were just getting sick of the direction of this team. And a lot of that was directed towards Booth, but even lately, some of it more was being directed towards Michael Malone as well. But yeah, they're all talking about like what they're going to do this summer. And I just think it's going to be so hard. Like they're talking about you trading MPJ or trying to trade Jamal Murray. It's like, good luck. Like you'll be able to do it, but I don't think you're going to get better.
How do you
at least
possibly
immediately
better trading Jamal Murray?
I know.
I can't imagine like what the trade package would even look like. Like, what do you do? Like, what is that? Like, are you trading for John Morant? Is that what you're doing?
Well, that would be actually pretty interesting. I don't think Memphis would do that, but yeah, get Ja with Jokic.
That's about the only thing I can think of where it's like, okay, who would be available that you think could possibly be better than Jamal? Where I mean, the problem is like they've traded their picks. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They've kind of screwed themselves in so many ways where it's like you traded these future firsts, and like, goodness, like credit to Sam Presti for jumping on that, Yeah,
because now like people are seriously talking about like, is there a chance Jokic would ever ask out? Like it has gotten to that point where if you do start looking at their future realistically and what they could do, they do start to feel like the Bucks, where it's just like, I don't know what else you can do at this point. Like, yeah, maybe you can make some type of like Kyle Kuzma level trade. Maybe you could
always
do that.
make a Kyle Kuzma level trade, by the way. That's always available to anybody. I'm sure the Bucks would even be like, you know what?
You can be Kyle Kuzma. How about that? But I just don't think that's going to move the needle. And I will say that Jamal Murray extension decision is probably one of the toughest decisions I've ever seen, because the guy won you a championship.
Yeah.
But you know that he's probably never going to make an all-star game. He has these injury issues, but you like kind of feel like you have to do it. And I think it would have been like very impressive for them to not do that deal. Like, I kind of just think you're locked into that deal. Like, you have to be so forward thinking and so willing to take abuse from the fan base to not sign Jamal Murray to that extension. But once you do, like, yeah, now it looks terrible. And now, especially with him continuing to get injured, it's just like, how are we going to get out of this? Like, you just kind of have to hope that Jamal Murray comes back.
Yeah. I don't think you have any other choice but that, to be honest. I think the Michael Porter Jr. thing is if you could find somebody that thinks that he's the missing piece, sure. You could get like
a team that needs a lot of shooting,
like two pieces back, then fine. Like, I think that you can figure it out that way. But I don't know. You have any ideas?
I'm just sorting by 3-point attempts per game. Oh, you know who's last?
Who?
Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, Denver. Yeah.
Clippers. I could see Clippers maybe being interested. Who else we got here?
There was the Zach LaVine thought, which I think that ship has sailed and probably dodged a bullet there.
Yeah. Would the Mavs be interested? That kind of seems like this new era of Mavs player.
For what?
I don't know. I just feel like I could see him. I can already see him on the court with Kyrie and AD and being told that this is the new big three in Dallas. I can already see that.
Oh no.
What about the Magic? Magic could use some 3-pointers.
They could use some shooting. Maybe KCP.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you do because that's a hard trade to make too. Like it's hard to get back the value that you want. Oh, they could get back Gary Harris and Contavious Caldwell-Pope. Just get the band back together.
That'd be tight. I'd be into that. I mean, we're laughing about this, but honestly, one of the scariest things that is now becoming more of a possibility is that Denver falls to the play-in, loses the first game, and we have to face Denver in the first round. And like, what if Jamal Murray comes back?
Yeah,
that wouldn't be fun. I wouldn't be excited about that.
There aren't going to be many matchups though in round one that you're just going to be like stoked for. I don't think.
I would be stoked for Memphis.
Yeah,
stoked for Memphis.
Dude, the Jalen Wells thing.
Don't go watch it.
It's awful. It's awful.
Jalen Wells, and it was such a weird play too. KG Simpson looked like he was trying to abort, like he was trying to get out of the play.
Yeah,
but he like hit him just a little bit, nailed his head on the ground, and he broke his wrist. So like even if he ended up being fine, which it seems like, you know, he's moving his extremities and he's fine. He tweeted from the hospital. But he still broke his wrist. Like he's done for this season at least.
Yeah.
Which is just a huge loss because I mean, what a rookie season he was having, and he was actually being asked to do a lot for that team defensively.
He's their start. Yeah, he's their starting small forward, and he defended Shea a lot when they played against them.
Yeah.
You know, I guess that would be probably the only realistic team. But they could still make the playoffs. I mean, they're literally tied with everybody else. Memphis, Golden State, Nuggets, Clippers are all tied. And the Lakers are only one game ahead. You know, I mean, like this is like one of the most uncertain Western Conference races I've ever seen. You know, I mean, it's just I have no clue what's going to happen here. Minnesota losing was a huge deal, by the way.
I know. I was not excited about that. Again, you said like there's no good options, but I didn't want to see Minnesota, and that puts them. I mean, now they're a game back of the 7th spot.
Yeah,
but they
can still get there. But like, I would favor them to win a game against the Grizzlies for sure. And then like if you're the Rockets, like, hey, your reward for being so good this year is playing the Minnesota Timberwolves in round one, the team that made the conference finals last year. Congratulations.
Yes. The Wolves could still be fine because they have that huge game against Memphis on Thursday, and then they play Brooklyn, Utah. So if you beat Memphis, you're going 3-0 to end the season, and that's probably enough to get you in the top 6. But yeah, that was a huge loss to a not great Bucks team.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what does Denver look like, you know, because they play. So their schedule, they have 3 left: Sacramento, Memphis, Houston.
Yeah, and I do wonder if Houston's going to start sitting because they're kind of locked in. Because Houston also plays the Lakers too.
Yeah, they do,
and they could lose all these games, and I think they'd be fine. They have a 4-game lead, so they can kind of decide a little bit of this or influence it in some way.
Oh, this is insane.
Oh, and their next game is against the Clippers. I forgot that Houston plays every good team. Yeah, Houston plays Clippers, Lakers, Denver.
I thought they were going to slide. Like they've won 3 in a row. They've played really well.
Super impressive.
Yeah, they beat OKC and the Warriors, and they have the Clippers. I mean, like really, they need like getting those 2 wins puts them right where they need to be.
Yeah, they're very impressive. Amin Thompson is an incredible defender. Their stats, like now that we're like towards the end of the season, I mean, they're just really impressive. You know, like they're 21-16 against teams 500 or above. That's the second best record in the West. And they've consistently beaten these other good Western Conference teams. Like at some point, I still think they probably won't be favored, depending on who they play in the first round, because of their offense. But they've been good enough in these big games, and they're a scary team for this summer. They're in a position where they could make a huge trade, and if they get like a legitimate star, then they will be. I mean, they'll be right there with OKC. But I mean, they kind of already are there. They're the second seed.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of there. They're 13 games back.
Yeah. I mean, they're not a 65 win team. But if you put Devin Booker on that team, they might be a 60 win team.
I would love it if they trade a bunch of stuff for Devin Booker, because I don't think that Devin Booker is the number one guy on any team. So
he's probably not, but if that's the best you can do, I mean the alternative is, what if Giannis asks out?
Yeah,
that wouldn't be fun for me.
That would be the one. That would be one where it's like, yeah, he's certainly a number one guy.
Yeah,
but
or Jokic.
I don't think we're there yet, but a hilarious idea. It's a hilarious idea. All right. Thanks so much for listening to our show. Hope that you guys are doing well. Met several dunkers at the game last night. It was great to see a bunch of dunkers out and about at the game. Really appreciated getting to talk to some of y'all. Hope you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you guys again on Friday.